Duncan Robinson. So he was a sign and trade for Simone Fontecchio. So what do you like about Duncan Robinson, and what intrigues you about him as a player?
Yeah, I mean, when Duncan Robinson gets his 3-point shot going, he can be as about lethal as anybody. One of the most memorable playoff runs over the last decade, in my opinion, was Duncan Robinson's flamethrower run when he was in the bubble, just completely out of the blue, just launching threes from the Disney World parking lot and just draining them in really high pressure, high elevated situations. And the thing that like stands out to me about Robinson is, like if you ever hear him talk, it's very apparent he's a super smart guy. His basketball IQ is really high. And again, he's played in those elevated situations. He's played in 2 NBA finals. He's been in heat culture and knows the standard that it takes, for to be excellent day in and day out. Like I think the things that Duncan Robinson does well, he does really well. And if you talk about like the contract, at first you see the numbers of 3 years, 48, and you're like, for Duncan Robinson, that's pretty steep. But then the terms of the contract start coming out. I believe only 2 million of the second year is guaranteed. And then I think it's even less than, I think none of the third year is guaranteed. I believe that's a team option. I could be wrong. I think it's an option on one of the sides. It's like a very flexible contract when you look at the terms. Like the Pistons really aren't like aren't on the hook for a lot in the grand scheme of things beyond the first year. So I brought up this point, we talked a little bit about this on Sunday as well, but I think it's worth, just like re-mentioning here is in Duncan Robinson's career in Miami, he's played with some really good players.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably only played with like one really good playmaker, like one really good point guard, and Goran Dragic. Outside of that, I can't really name anyone else. Can you? Like Jimmy Butler maybe was the second best playmaker he's played with.
Yeah, it's honestly kind of crazy when you look at those Miami Heat teams and some of the rosters that were making it to the NBA Finals. It kind of just shows you how good of a coach Spo is of getting Duncan Robinson and Bam and Jimmy and all those guys to the NBA Finals. But to kind of like circle back to like your comments, so 2.1 million for the second year. Shout out to Koo. Didn't even know he was watching. And then
Yeah.
non-guaranteed the third year. So yeah, I mean, like essentially it's just a 1-year deal. And like
Yeah.
if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think before those details came out, myself and a lot of Pistons fans, we were crashing out.
It was
And
steep.
respectively so, because we saw the 3 for 48. We're like, damn, that's a lot. And then like the details come out, and you're like, okay, that's not that bad. And like if he does well here, which I think he will, I think losing a motion shooter like a Malik Beasley and getting a Duncan Robinson, I'm not saying it's a replacement, but I do think the one player that's probably going to benefit the most is Cade Cunningham, of having a Duncan Robinson to pass the ball to, coming off screens. And the one thing about him that he's like kind of like really sneakily good at is just like getting to the basket and finishing.
Yeah,
Like
he's gotten a
there's
lot better at that over the years.
yeah, it's kind of like an under the radar like type of skill, and he's taller as well. I mean, I believe he's 6'6" or 6'7".
Mhm.
Last time I did look up, I mean, you kind of just look at his threes in Miami. Like you mentioned that bubble year, 273s made. So I mean, he maybe he could kind of turn back the clock and get close to 300. I mean, that would be fantastic. Maybe he
Yeah.
can kind of just have the green light like Malik Beasley had here.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to have the green light. I think where a lot of the trepidation, I think the reason why a lot of people, when they see that number, just start to kind of have, those hesitancies, so to speak, is because of the fact that when he isn't shooting it well, there was those stretches in Miami where he was just straight up out of the rotation, like mainly in the 2022-23 year, which I believe that wasn't the year they made the finals. That was the year before they made the finals, right? Yeah, I think so. But he wasn't in the rotation for like a lot of that year, and after he signed that big contract, and wasn't necessarily viewed, to be worth that contract in Miami, which I think is definitely fair to say. But he's one of those guys again where when he has a shot going, he can definitely hit it at a high clip. He's definitely never someone that you're going to look at and laud for his defense, but he definitely brings length. He's a high character guy. You're definitely not going to have any of the off the court concerns with Duncan Robinson. So I would say that it's a safe signing when you take all of those things into consideration. And again, with a lot of those non-guarantees and a lot of those back end, like figures, like I would probably argue that this is a move that, or a contract that could be packaged in deals later on as well.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the deals since Trajan has got here, they're like 2-3 year deals. It's no long-term money. It's not a lot of long-term commitment. And I love the contract.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure who does the contracts for the Detroit Pistons, but they need a raise. PD was just saying it in the comment section. Like the moves are just very like, I'm not going to push all my chips on the table. I'm going to give myself a little bit of flexibility if I need to get out of them. And I think that's the right approach by Trajan Langen and company in the
Right.
front office.